Well, Candace held absolutely nothing back in that iconic congressional hearing where she blasted Democrats in the media for their race baiting during election years.
I just have to say that I object strenuously to your use of the word hilarious. To me, this feels a lot like your reaction to being named in one of these manifestos. Now, you're of course not responsible for the words of somebody writing that document, but I do think that laughing at it is a real problem because these are real families that are impacted by this violence. And I think our efforts towards talking about this have to start from a place of mutual respect, which is what I've heard from this side of the table. Now, the reason we don't have those numbers, I want those numbers as much as you do, but to say the numbers don't show something is simply not supported by the data.
You know that white supremacy and white nationalism ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is attempt to make the election all about race as the Democrats
Not in
do.
my case, Ms.
Please
Owens.
don't
I'm
cut me
sorry.
off.
Please do not characterize my motive.
Mr. Chairman, it's my time.
Yeah,
it's my time.
You've got your time, Mr. Meadows. I'll give you 3 more seconds.
Every 4 years, you bring up race, and you knew exactly what I meant when I said hilarious, and you just tried to do live what the media does all the time to Republicans, to our president, and to conservatives, which you tried to manipulate what I said to fit your narrative, okay? I was not referring to the subject matter that is hilarious. I said it's hilarious that we are sitting in this room today, and I've got 2 doctors and a missus, and nobody can give us real numbers that we can respond to so we can assess how big of a threat this is. Because you know that it is not as big of a threat as you are trying to make it out to be so that you can manipulate. And the audacity of you to bring up the Christchurch shooting manifesto and make it seem as if I laughed at people that were slaughtered by a homicidal maniac is, in my opinion, absolutely despicable. And I think that we should be above that. To try to assign reality or any meaning to a homicidal maniac writing a manifesto, which, by the way, let the record show, also stated Spyro the Dragon, the child's cartoon, as a source of inspiration. He also cited Nelson Mandela as a source of information. I don't think that Nelson Mandela has inspired mosque shootings. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong. You would rather assign meaning to a homicidal maniac than to actually address the things that I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number 1, father absence. Number 2, the education system and the illiteracy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high, abortion ranks high, white supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce, and it is ironic that you're sitting here and you're having 3 Caucasian people testify and tell you what their expertise are. Do I know what my expertise are? Black in America. I've been Black in America my whole life, all 30 years, and I can tell you that you guys have done the exact same thing every 4 years ahead of an election cycle, and it needs to stop.
Now, to put in context what Candace is saying here, and she's absolutely right, you have to put in context what we see from the media every single election year. And I'm not even talking about just presidential elections. This was back in 2020, I believe, 2019 or 2020, maybe going into the last election. Every single election year, our mainstream media starts race baiting hardcore. Now, in 2020, it reached, I think, the generational apex of race baiting. In 2020, we had the BLM protests. We had all of those different things going on where the country was more torn apart and divided by race than ever. This is the goal not only of the mainstream media, but also with the Democrats that run the left's entertainment, media, journalism infrastructure. They exist, number 1, to tear Americans apart, but specifically, very explicitly, to separate Black and white Americans during election years. They do it over and over and over and over and over again. And I wonder, at what point do people start waking up to this? I've been trying to wake people up to this. Candace has been waking people up to this there. Brandon Tatum, there's so many Black conservatives that are really trying to open people's eyes to what the agenda is. And I think that this moment from Candace was just such a brilliant explanation of exactly what these people do.